Hi people, hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. It's Ren here again, shooting a second video in this room today between these two interesting and mysterious posters. So today, in this second video, I would like to talk about the direction that my channel is likely to follow in the next few weeks, months, and we'll see, if it goes further into the future. So, this video I've been inspired to make because of something very recent that happened, which is that I shared my philosophy 101 explaining the basics of the different six or seven different branches of philosophy in 20 minutes. I shared it on Reddit and our philosophy, and it actually got a lot of exposure, and I got a lot of subscribers who were really interested in what I did there. And the thing is, before that point, before I had the idea of sharing that video on Reddit, I share a lot of INFJ videos on Reddit too, or I used to do it more, but I sort of had not given up on sharing my content on Reddit, but let's say that I had sort of toned it down and focused on other things, focused on YouTube primarily, a bit on Twitter, but just tried to remain focused on YouTube. I have a full-time job, at least for the time being, so it's not always easy for me to just take into account every possible channel. But that friend I was chatting to said, your video is great, your video that explains the basics of philosophy is great. Why don't you share it on our philosophy? And I said, well, one of my Nietzsche videos on our philosophy, on the Overman and the slave morality, was very, well, it was, for me, comparatively very, very successful. I have, at the present moment, over 7,000 views for that video, so it's my top video, but it's probably going to be surpassed soon by the video on Philosophy 101 that I submitted to Reddit yesterday. And in the meantime, I had a lot of videos that got some traction on Reddit on our philosophy, but I felt like I was flooding the Reddit at the time. Although you should never really think that way, because people just look at one thing and then they forget the day after is a completely different day. So these are worries that I should not necessarily have. But the fact of the matter is, I've attracted all these viewers, and some of them have followed me. And the name of my channel, as you know, is World of Philosophy. Technically, the name of my channel is not World of Psychology, it's not World of Jung, it's not World of MBTI, and it's not World of INFJ. But you might have noticed that at least in the last month, right, for the entirety of the month of December almost, I was almost like practically just focused on making videos on Myers-Briggs, psychology, INFJ. And I was focusing on that for a number of reasons. First, because of what I explained regarding the Reddit issue with our philosophy. Second, because in general my philosophy videos, for I'm sure a bunch of different reasons, don't get as much attention as my psychology and INFJ videos. And also because in many ways the philosophy videos, they're a little harder to make. They muster more intellectual resources than me, because I have to do a lot of, in the terms of MBTI, I have to do a lot of TI, and that's I love doing it. I love doing it. I'm not completely bad at it, I'm proficient enough at it, but it's just not my go-to, so it gets very, very tiring. And so having a tiring time just making the video and not getting a lot of attention just deflated my motivation a bit, and so I was focusing on INFJ stuff, where I have a lot of connection with people and I absolutely love it. I'm going to continue doing the INFJ stuff, and it's quite possible that I will continue doing the INFJ stuff primarily. However, out of the fact that my philosophy is my passion, out of the fact that the name of my channel is World of Philosophy, and based on the fact that I have quite a few, maybe not the majority at this point, but still quite a few followers that followed me because they enjoy my philosophy content via Reddit and other channels, I would like to continue making philosophy videos with my channel. So I wondered if that would lead to a kind of dissonance within the our philosophy, World of Philosophy sort of brands, making videos on psychology and INFJ on the one hand, and then videos on philosophy on the other. And so, like a typical anti-dominant, like a typical INFJ, I've been trying to think about how to reconcile the two topics and the two approaches. And I think that I may if not have like a topical reason for doing that, apart from the context that I just provided, I have a reason. I have a reason for wanting to stick to those two domains, to those two topics, without being afraid of like rubbing some subscribers the wrong way. I think that most subscribers will be tolerant of the fact that I make, let's say, only one video on. It's already, it's already a lot, but because I make so many videos these days, it doesn't seem like a lot. But one video or two videos on philosophy every week, and like, 5 or 6 videos on psychology and INFJ every week. So there'll be lots of both, more on INFJ probably, but still I want to continue doing the philosophy videos for the reasons I gave, plus this other reason connected to this reconciliation of not necessarily an opposition, because philosophy and psychology, I mean, they're not completely opposed disciplines. They're both disciplines that are very, very, very concerned, more than any other discipline, with meaning, with language, with life in general, how people relate to reality. And in fact, psychology as a science has supplanted philosophy in certain ways when it comes, for example, to the study of mind, right? The discipline of the study of mind used to be the realm of philosophy, now it's more the realm of psychology. So there's a connection, an innate curiosity, an openness to conceptualization, to the domain of the spiritual. You see that in people like mainstream psychologists like Jordan Peterson. The interest in philosophy is very present. So there is this link for sure. But on top of that, I think that psychology, and more specifically the INFJ reliance on introverted intuition, the cognitive function identified by Carl Jung, psychoanalyst Carl Jung, as introverted intuition. It's a function that's the so-called INFJ and INTJ types have it as their dominance. Well, I think that not only is that function really suited for philosophy and for being curious about philosophy and for explaining philosophy in an interesting way, but I think that even for my purposes, and specifically for my purposes in this channel, where I come from in terms of being an INFJ, identifying as a dominant user of introverted intuition, I think that it is very much connected with the way I decide to approach philosophy in this channel, and with the way in which I explain philosophy in this channel, and therefore also associated with the value added, the added value that people who follow my channel mostly for philosophy reasons do that. Why do they do that? What is the value added? Well, I think it's connected obviously with what they find of value in the way that I explain things. Apparently I do things kind of synthetically, and I offer a kind of mind map for people that they don't necessarily find somewhere else. Well, that's connected to being INFJ buddies. I think so, yeah. And let me just finish the video by trying to explain why, and I'll conclude with this. Well, because if you like, you'll notice, and people who have been watching my videos, and my philosophy videos included, have noticed that, is that I tend to go in circles a little bit, and I tend to come across almost as if I were rambling sometimes, at first anyway, for the first few minutes, and then once it's all like set, I kind of unfurl the whole thing, and then it just comes out, right? Well, the thing is, that rambling method, the stream of consciousness, I kind of go into the video in this flow state, a bit like a, like someone who just improvises, and even though I have an outline and I try to follow it, but I do want to sort of keep to that. I don't want to be just like another heavily edited sort of approach to presenting philosophy that just tells you in 10 minutes blah 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 in this staccato fashion, and it's just thrown at your face, and you can feel sometimes like you're absorbing everything, but afterwards you realize that you were only presented with the what of things. That's how I would like to argue that my approach is interesting, is that I don't present you with the what of things. I don't just tell you, like, for example, in philosophy, this particular movement is ABC, or this particular philosopher did ABC, this particular school, ethics, aesthetics, or even when I talk about psychology as MBTI, I don't necessarily like to do that. And if I wanted to do that, then I'd have to probably do more editing, and not be so stream of consciousness when I'm talking. It's true. But the thing is, it's not because I'm lazy that I'm trying to stick to this slightly longer format, slow burn approach. It's that I want to focus on the how, not the what, right? Because the what you can find on the internet, and I would never be the best person to help you with that, whether for MBTI or for philosophy. But I think what I'm decent at is to convey to people the what of things. So I know a field, whether it's philosophy or INFJ or whatever, I know a field, and instead of giving you a good picture of what it's like, I try to talk to you and envelop you in a way, envelop you in a particular frame of mind that is my frame of mind in such a way that I kind of, instead of showing you a picture, I give you the key to the place where you can just enter it. And so instead of having this superficial idea of what is involved in a certain discipline, you actually know how the discipline functions. And it's much more powerful because it gives you the key to, by yourself, just start to master the discipline because you just know how to approach it. So rather than telling you what a discipline is about, I much prefer telling you how to approach a particular discipline, giving you the how rather than the what, giving you the keys rather than just a picture. And the thing is, when it comes to giving you the keys, giving you the how rather than the what, at least, you know, that's my intention, I sort of have to ask you to be patient and to be willing to tolerate what might come across like rambling at times, because it's not really rambling for me, it's deliberate. I take your hands, I say come to me, and I just circle around you, because those circles just give, like, it puts you in a certain ambience, it puts you in a certain frame of mind that is a little bit like my frame of mind, in which I tell you I got this insight, and introverted intuition helped me attain this insight. And introverted intuition doesn't necessarily tell me what the what is. It's often hard for me to tell you what the what is of any particular discipline, even one I know well, because I'm not good at telling you there's this, there's that. No, but how to approach it, how to make it work, how to tackle it by yourself. What are the essential mechanisms about it? That's what I think I'm good at. But for this, you need to first get a sense of how it is that I approach it. So you need to get a sense of how I myself think and how I myself tackle the how. And for this, the going in circles, getting used to the ambience, getting used to the atmosphere, letting it soak in a way, is part of the whole thing. It's part of it, and this is why I tend to stick to those videos, because what is my purpose at the end of the day? My purpose is not to say I know all of these different things, because I could not care less about that. What I care about is making a video, making you discover something amazing, something that I think is very, very interesting. And I know that for that purpose, what's needed is for me to ensure that the people who watch the video will develop an understanding of the howness of the particular discipline, the particular topic, that will then allow them to develop the deep appreciation which I think the discipline deserves. If they just superficially engage with something from a distance, which is sometimes what people want on YouTube, they don't have lots of time and they just want to do that, and that's fine. It's not really what I offer. I offer something that's a bit more slow burning. I presented you with an approach rather than just a topic, with the approach that surround it. I try to, like, with my words, give you a sense of how it is to sort of swim within that discipline, so that you get a sense of it, which you will never forget, because it's much harder to forget. Actually, in fact, it's impossible, I think. Once you understand the how of anything, you don't forget it. Whereas the what, if it's just about memory of facts, certain things that you learned, you probably forget it. And you've noticed before, I'm sure, that when you watch some of these videos on YouTube sometimes, you think, oh, that's amazing, and you feel like you're absorbing a lot of content. Well, the day after or a week later, you're hardly able to remember anything or to be able to talk about it competently, let alone. Whereas with my approach, my dream is to give you, sometimes when I feel like I have a bit of expertise, to give you the tools to understand it in such a way that the key allow you to then be able to master it and explain it by yourself, you know. And that just requires a slightly different approach. And I just wanted to emphasize that. And I'll be doing it, I think it links psychology and philosophy for the reasons that I just gave you there. And it probably will continue to dominate my approach in the future. I will hopefully fine-tune it, make it more and more concise and easy to digest, but I'll stick to it because I think it's an approach that has merit. All right, cheers guys, thanks for the attention, have a lovely day.